Hello there guys, what is going on? Son Chelsea back here again for another edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. I hope you're all doing well and feeling refreshed, because I am after this winter break that's nearly over, getting ready for the most important, probably the most stressful and hopefully exciting and enjoyable period of the season. We're going to have to wait and see. But on Let's Talk Chelsea, last week I talked about transfers and the January transfer window, and I pretty much assumed that other than maybe rumours that always come out and some other stories as we build up to the summer now, I thought transfers would pretty much be done. But no, because yesterday the news broke from many outlets that Hakim Ziyech is going to be a Chelsea player next year. It looks like pretty much waiting for that confirmation from both clubs, but it's all but confirmed basically. And it's an absolute shock, it really is. It's come out of absolutely nowhere. Ziyech had been linked previously, but nothing strong, nothing in January that we saw or spoke about. And then literally, I'm sure like many of you, I just turned on Twitter and then suddenly saw the news and saw who was saying it and started to get excited. And it is a move that is exciting and intriguing a lot of Chelsea fans. I not only want to talk about Ziyech in this video, but also repercussions, because I think it will have repercussions on potential targets Chelsea are going for in that area. And also the current squad. What does it mean for players currently in those positions moving forward? And what will Ziyech do for Chelsea moving forward? But let's get into it, because Matt Law reporting that Chelsea are poised to sign 40 million winger Hakim Ziyech from Ajax ahead of summer transfer. Interestingly about this, despite not a lot of us knowing how big of a target Ziyech was for Chelsea, apparently Chelsea did have a bid turned down in January, but Chelsea have now made it a priority to make this deal, and the agreement on the deal should be confirmed by both clubs this week following productive talks just under a fortnight since the January transfer window closed. Ziyech was apparently identified as one of Lampard's major targets after he impressed during Ajax 4-4 Champions League draw with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in November. And, you know, it's interesting. And of course, we know who Ziyech is. You know, it's not one of those obscure signings. To some, I saw on Twitter trying to make it out like that everyone just knew who Ziyech was. But Ziyech played against us and played pretty well. That goal he scored, that, you know, the cross or the free kick he scored at Stamford Bridge, I was literally right behind that goal. I was right behind the goal in the Hudson-Odoi. So I saw the quality of Ziyech that night. He was one of the star men there. He's been one of the star men for Ajax recently, and a really exciting team. And for Chelsea to get this deal done is really impressive. I tweeted it's the sort of move and the sort of player I want to see coming at Chelsea. He's a good age. He's, you know, a progressive player. I think he's a player that Lampard obviously craves, and for the sort of football that Lampard wants to play, very appropriate for that. And it's a player that's going to improve Chelsea. It really is. And it's a player with that sort of creativity to him that I like. He's got sort of the guile, the flair, but watching him and seeing what he can do, just watching him against us, that crossing ability in itself. You think about Reece James and Hakim Ziyech being on the same side potentially next year, what a threat that can be, and how can the likes of Tammy Abraham benefit off of that if we can utilise Ziyech like he has been utilised at Ajax. He's got a lot of talent. There was a lot of talk, and I talked a lot about it, about people's frustration about the lack of activity in the January transfer window, and I think, does this put this whole extreme sort of feeling that Lampard was betrayed by the board in January to bed a little bit? Because this is apparently one of Lampard's top targets. The club have made a move swiftly to get it done before the window, which I think is great. You rarely see it, especially publicly, but I think it's great for Chelsea. A bit like the Pulisic move, is that they can focus on hopefully other targets now, maybe prioritising a striker, a left back. So they've got time to do that, which is great. And it shows, you know, intention to back Lampard. It does. It truly does. As well, what I want to talk about on this, and we talk about, you know, Ziyech and his ability and what he can bring to Chelsea, the talent, the flair there, what he would do from the right. I know he can play as a number 10. I'm not sure I could see him as a number 10 unless Lampard really goes with the 4-2-3-1. But as we've spoken about before, that midfield area, LOFTUS-CHEEK, Mason Mount, how all those going to fare? That's an interesting question, how that could affect. I think primarily he'll be played as a winger, because I think either Pedro or Willian or both could be leaving. I spoke last week about Jeremy Boga potentially coming back. I can see that move happening. If both Willian and Pedro leave, we need two replacements. So that could be both Ziyech and Jeremy Boga. I think the big elephant in the room as well is Jadon Sancho, because simultaneously as this move was sort of getting announced or getting reported on, Jadon Sancho, from reports in Germany, was that he's going to be leaving Borussia Dortmund. I mean, that's not really much of a surprise. We've known that for many months now. And apparently he wants to move back to England, which as well is not that surprising. Chelsea have been linked to Sancho for a long time. I do think it will affect the move. I think for a variety of reasons here. Number one, Sancho, he's not going to come as a development player. This is a player who is the golden boy at the moment, especially of a lot of European football. You know, he is so craved and targeted. He's going to come and he's going to want first team football, obviously, for the talent he has. And how will that affect the likes of both Christian Pulisic and Callum Hudson-Odoi? And this is why I think potentially Ziyech could be the move that rules out Sancho. I know that's going to annoy a lot of people naturally, because Sancho is the big money mega move that, you know, is a dream move for fans. It really is. You know, you could imagine a situation where Sancho comes back to Chelsea. He's playing along with Abraham and Hudson-Odoi, and what Sancho could do long term. Chelsea looking for a replacement for Eden Hazard. Well, that could potentially be one there. But at the same time, how are all these players going to fit in? You know, there's a lot of players within there who are good quality, but are all going to be vying for minutes. You know, I look at that. So let's say, in a dream scenario, Chelsea sign Sancho along with Ziyech and bring in Boga, and both Willian and Pedro leave. You've got a bunch of players there who are either going into the prime of their career or are in the prime of their career. You don't have any aging wingers there who could potentially deal with sitting on the bench, deal with maybe helping along younger players who can be that experienced head, a bit like Dave is, a bit like Willian is, a bit like Pedro is. So you don't have players coming to the end of their careers. All of them are going to want minutes, which is great for squad competition, but just naturally in terms of deals being made and players wanting to move to your club, I'm pretty sure that could come up in sort of a discussion with Jadon Sancho if the club were trying to get Sancho. Also, I think it's good to touch on within all this is Wilfried Zaha has been targeted for a long time and been linked to Chelsea. 80 million apparently a fee. This is apparently going to be 40 million, which in the current market for a player of Ziyech's output is an amazing signing. It really is. Amazing fee for the club there. And I think it proves that, you know, that obvious marquee signing isn't always the best one. And we know that Ziyech has played at a higher level. We've seen it firsthand. So I think that as well needs to be pointed out of how good of a move this can be, and Chelsea moving financially for, you know, the rest of the window, getting a left back, getting maybe a centre back in other areas as well. Of course, striker, they can focus on them and hopefully put more funds into those players. We spoke about Boga, we spoke about Sancho, potentially players coming in. Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi, I think, is a key one here, and also Pulisic similarly. You know, Pulisic left Dortmund where Sancho was, sort of taking his place a bit, and you know, how would he feel moving to Chelsea, a fresh new start, a new beginning of his career, and Sancho comes in and takes his place instantly. It's one of these, once again, sort of left or right things for Chelsea right now. Do you go with a player like Sancho, who absolutely looks like he's going to be fully on his way to being world class, being one of the best players of his generation, and looks like he's going to achieve a lot wherever he goes, but giving that time to Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi, allowing them that development time, that's going to be the key question for Chelsea. I find it, the first reaction I had, other than excitement seeing Ziyech's name linked to Chelsea and seeing the move potentially coming through, was also in the back of my mind was, how are these players going to fit in? You know, potentially Willian could stay, potentially Willian could get a contract sorted with Chelsea and then stay. As I said last week, I think Pedro's definitely off, but that could also happen. And once again, I think that would naturally lean towards Sancho not coming, especially if Boga is a target as well. So there's lots up in the air. One thing we do know is I think this deal is going to be confirmed very soon. And one thing I'm going to say, it's brilliant business by the club. It really is. It's a move, a statement very early on to say to the fans and to the rest of the footballing world, to the rest of at least the Premier League, of their rivals, that, you know, Chelsea are going to be in business now. Just because we didn't act in January doesn't mean we're not going to act in the summer, and we're already acting and bringing in players who we hope to improve our squad. And I'm sure Lampard will be happy. I know it doesn't help him in the top 4 race, but it will help him moving forward. And I think it's a run of signings now that I think shows maybe Chelsea are moving in a better direction in terms of recruitment. Yes, Kepa is under fire at the moment, but I do think Kepa has the capability to still be a brilliant goalkeeper for Chelsea. Jorginho, Mateo Kovacic, Christian Pulisic, and now Ziyech. That's a run of signings. If you take out Kepa, if you're doubtful about Kepa, and you just put the 4 there, that shows a statement of intent and a good direction for the club. And, especially the 3 I could mention of Pulisic, Jorginho and Kovacic, I think have all improved Chelsea in their own way. And Pulisic hasn't, he's been injured recently, still very young, still looking to get into the prime of his career. So those are my thoughts on the deal. Let me know your thoughts. I'm sure there'll be a lot of excitement, a lot of positivity, which is great because there was so much negativity recently about the January transfer window. But this is something fans can get excited about moving forward, and hopefully gives that boost to the Chelsea squad going into a big period of the season. My team selector for Manchester United will be out tomorrow. Got some more content, and of course the big game on Monday night against Manchester United, where hopefully Chelsea can get back to winning ways against the top 4 rival. So that is it for this edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonofChelsea, and I'll see you again.